Let's get to work. Come on.
Welcome to the Master of Trades podcast with your host, Harry Ellison.
Welcome to the Master of Trades podcast. I'm here with my good friend, partner, just an exceptional human being, Mr. Quest.
All of those things are true.
Gatlin.
Specifically the exceptional human being part.
Exceptional.
Let's just take this episode to talk about how exceptional of a human being I really am.
We could do that.
Let's get my wife on the phone. Can we do that?
I thought you said you wanted to talk about how exceptional you are.
Hey!
All right.
Maybe
Quest,
not this podcast.
Maybe a later one. We'll bring her on. We'll bring in some special guests.
I'll pop the balloon on that one.
Yeah. All right, continue the conversation about virtual assistants because,
that's good.
Man, to create exceptional business owners, we got to find a way to delegate and create some space for business owners.
Yeah.
Space to breathe, space to dream again, space to get passionate about.
So big.
What am I here? What do I do here? What does our company do? What's the industry we work in? Once upon a time, I was inspired over this, and I'm gonna trigger some people right now. Once upon a time, I was inspired over my business. What happened and how did I get here?
Yeah. And
it's on the other side of delegating, creating that space. So excited to keep that conversation going with you, Q.
Yeah.
And let's roll on. Well, your experience. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You've been partnered with me for quite a while now.
Sure.
And you've been deep into this global workforce thing.
Yeah.
What's your experience coming into this, not having any kind of interaction with the global workforce? What's that been like for you?
It's new. It's definitely new to me. And I think, once you kind of dive into... Once you really dive into a remote workforce, which is just so hard for, I think, a lot of Americans to understand until COVID hit, and I can talk about that for just a second, where now everyone's forced to be remote and they don't know how to do it. From the technology use to, I don't know how to communicate well this way, how do I keep people accountable? Like, we were all forced into it in 2020 to some degree, right? And so you had to figure it out and figure it out fast to survive. Whether you're a nonprofit, I know many churches, all of a sudden we needed live stream gear. Like, I got to figure out how to be remote and do all these things immediately. But for me, going deep now with a remote team, and I'm not just talking like, I've got one virtual assistant, which most people are like, if I could just start there, that'd be great. I'm talking like 40 players that are different countries.
You got a battalion.
A battalion, yeah.
Of VAs.
Which is a blast. Now I can't even imagine not having a battalion of VAs.
A battalion, did you say?
Battalion?
It's starting to sound
a bazillion. Yeah, now I don't know what I'm talking
bazillion.
About. I need like a bazillion VA. I can't even imagine going back to not operating this way. And I think kind of like as we're getting into the podcast today specifically, I'm on the other side of going deep in this, and there's a lot of people on the other side of the fence of like, I'm still sniffing this thing out. Do I even want to do this? I can tell you now, on the other side of the fence, you do want to do this. You do want to do this. I'm here to tell you, you do want to do this. You've got to go deeper. You've got to assess. You've got to have this conversation. But I can just say for me, it's been a learning. It's definitely, like, you're not going to figure it out overnight. So just be okay with, like, this is a work in progress. I'm discovering things in progress. Let me tell you this. It has not just been how to hire a VA, how to manage a VA. Dude, we'll talk about all that. I'm learning more about me right now than I am about what website to vet through a list of possible hires. Like, all of that's important.
What do you mean by that? You're learning about you.
You learn more about you a whole lot quicker than you learn how to just hire and manage a remote team. It is a whole, and I don't want to say this to scare you out of it. I'm actually trying to shove you into this, because if you thought your leadership abilities did or didn't have any kind of holes, first of all, if you don't think your leadership has holes, no matter what the context, you've got mental problems. Dude, it's got holes. You should always be okay, and be okay with that, and be okay with having a team. It's a podcast for another day that can identify those things. But there's going to be nuances and conversations and things that are going to hit you where a remote team is concerned that you just never thought of before. Yeah. I never had to think this way. I never had to approach it like this before. Well, you do now. And so now you're better for it. And so I'm personally, I'm learning a lot. I'm growing a lot. And we're scaling a lot. We're seeing a lot of great things transpire and take place. So for those of you listening today, I think you're going to get a lot out of this conversation. Dude, I'll be transparent. I'll tell you what I'm learning, how I'm fumbling, and I know you as well. We'll give you all the sauce. We'll spill the tea, if you will, on how to do this, some of the mistakes we've made early on, some of the mistakes we're currently maybe making, and we'll learn together. I think that's the beautiful thing about this, is I'm not just trying to sell you anything. I'll tell you what you need to know.
That's so great.
But learning a lot and being willing to continue to learn, to crash the car a little bit in an effort to scale, achieve freedom, make things better for our team. It's been incredible. Here's another thing for me. Learning, it's one thing to work with a bunch of great people from Dallas, Texas, from Los Angeles, where I'm from, but to work with people from the Philippines, to have employees in Egypt, to have employees in Dallas, in LA, like remote workforce, where we all get on a call together, all different mentalities, we don't all go grocery shop at Walmart, folks. Like, everything's different for everybody. And so there's a lot to talk about with unpacking that. I hope that whet your appetite a little bit as to where we're inevitably going in this podcast. But
this is great.
Man, it's been quite a journey.
Yeah,
It's been a blast.
I love that, and you're giving us context right out of the gate of, hey, it's not all sunshine and roses. Like, it's hard to do, but it's worth doing. Anything worth doing is hard to do, and I think it's funny you saying that brings to mind all these business owners who have tried it. They had an issue and they just totally gave up on it. And it's just
Big
like,
mistake.
wow. How do you
mistake.
not persist when it gets difficult and you've got some challenges to resolve? Because if it was easy, everybody would do it.
For sure.
And it would not be novel, but it is novel. This, in fact, is the greatest business opportunity of our lifetime.
Huge.
When I say that, some people instantly go to, well, what about AI? AI is much more efficient, much more. I'm sorry. If you're a business owner, has AI replaced every process within your business? Well, it could eventually. It hasn't yet. VAs, the global workforce, is the greatest business opportunity because it can and it should be a process and a methodology that replaces and delegates all of your hard administrative office, every department, sales, marketing, HR, fulfillment, customer service, every single process within an organization and office space needs to be outsourced. It's the greatest opportunity.
Big time.
So I think it's funny going back to the AI thing, where businesses are like, well, I'm really looking to integrate AI right now, or I'm waiting for AI to get up to speed to where I can move that into my business. I'm not really so much worried about the global workforce. Yeah, and look, here's the thing is, if you can't integrate the global workforce into your business, newsflash, you're not going to integrate AI or integrate AI faster than your competition. Okay, as soon as AI hits and we're integrating all these processes, the game has just begun, and it's also over. There's going to be a consolidation of businesses, and just many droves of businesses are not going to exist. But the reason that incorporating the global workforce first is so essential to AI is because with AI, you still have to load in everything that you do, how you do it, why you do it, and teach AI what it is that your business does and what the outcomes are that you need and what the metrics are that you're tracking. You have to go deep with AI just like you have to go deep with global. And if you don't set up this foundation where global operators can operate within your business, you're not going to be successful with AI. So I think it's funny how AI is this holy grail. It's going to be something I can flip a switch. No, you're going to have to load and teach AI just like you would with a person.
So you're basically saying don't get the cart ahead of the horse. All right, I know AI is a topic of conversation for real, and we'll talk about it more. But where virtual assistants is concerned, virtual accelerators, we call them, are concerned. Basically, don't get the cart ahead of the horse, dude. Slow down. If you don't mind me calling you dude, I'm from LA, okay? But if don't get the cart ahead of the horse.
That's my preferred pronoun. It's dude.
Dude. Yeah. Hey,
and
dude.
your excellence.
Yeah, your excellence.
Either works.
Either one works. I'll notate that immediately. Okay, so we're slowing down. Listen, AI is a topic of conversation. If you're afraid to integrate a human for $5 an hour that you meet every day with over Zoom, don't get too excited about AI. Slow down. In other words, let's take one step at a time. and let's tackle this first. So let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it. VAs. Let's go a little deeper with VAs. Last episode, we talked about offloading a lot of your duties and responsibilities, whether you're good at them or not, accepting what we call MVP, minimum viable product. We're really shooting for like 70-75% of a desired outcome. You need to be okay with that, at least initially, while your team is developing. We talked about making a document, putting some Loom videos together. How do you do what you do so you can properly train that individual, all right? So, Perry, where do I even find these people? You talk about remote, you talk global as in like outside of the United States? Well, God, we're getting rid of the U.S. workforce? My God, we're American only, bless God. Oh, like, okay. With all the different perspectives of U.S. only and and all the different perspectives that a lot of people have, and we get those perspectives.
Right.
Look, I'm with you on all of that. Where do I begin? Like literally websites. Like how do I Indeed.com? Am I looking for somebody in Egypt on a pyramid somewhere? All jokes aside, people don't know.
It's a pyramid scheme. Okay?
It's the pyramid scheme.
What this is.
But like all jokes aside, like how do I find people? Like, is there a particular country that I'm looking for? Like, I'm getting my head around this. Like, where do I begin if I'm a business owner or operator?
Those business owners, those Americans who look at this and say, American workforce only, we want that red-blooded patriot in our business.
I understand all
that. Those people are actually the weak and pathetic leaders. I'm just going to say what it is because you're the ones actually threatening the American workforce.
Wow.
You're the one keeping the workforce blind to what's actually already here, what's already taken over. Eventually, AI will replace every operation in our company. Then what? What happens? Have you thought through this as a business leader? What happens is all your people that used to be butts in chairs now have to go out into the field as a waiter, okay, as a general contractor, some sort of physical labor occupation. And you, right now, are saying Americans only in our office. You're the ones keeping the American workforce vulnerable to what's to come. I'm saying prepare them now, increase their value now, so that they remain valuable in the future of our marketplace, our digital marketplace. So listen, I'm along on the global workforce. I'm along on the American workforce. This is not a zero-sum game. We have an expansive mindset around this, a growth mindset. And so we're looking to scale this, right? So we've tackled the personal assistant thing. That mentality in that previous episode is so powerful because you're essentially just going to multiply that into your entire team.
Yeah.
That mentality, you're taking that into your entire team. But how do we actually physically find these operators in these different countries? What do we do? Well, you can go to different websites like Fiverr or Upwork. Now, we'll caution you, most of those are agencies. So when you see a person there, Tom, who does marketing, he more often than not belongs to an agency. When you engage them, that agency is going to take a piece of the pie away from Tom. We don't like that at our companies because we like to onboard people directly. They're a part of our team, not the agency's team. We want to control their experience and their growth opportunities without having this middleman take a piece.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We like that less. There's onlinejobs.ph. That's specifically for the Filipino workforce. Or you just go to Indeed. And it's just funny when we actually look at what the global workforce is, it's just hiring people. It's the same process, the same mentality, just applied a little differently. So we're hiring on Indeed. Job ads are largely the same as what we would look for here domestically. You just change the region over to the Philippines, to Egypt, to Brazil, Guatemala. So look, it depends on where you're looking and what type of skill sets you want. And along those lines, that's interesting you mentioned that. Yeah, there's an entire globe of people to tap into, and talent to tap into, and culture to tap into. And that's super important. What we found is that there is an immense difference in cultures around the world. And so we've identified certain cultures as typically being a better fit for certain specific operations in our organization.
That's good.
So we have in the Philippines, we have folks that are tremendously, incredible people.
Yeah.
Highly agreeable, highly loyal. Their characters through the roof. These people on day one are really going to stand themselves out as some of the most incredible people you've ever met.
Yeah.
So very agreeable, hardworking, willing to sacrifice and do what it takes. By the way, they work on our hours, 8 to 5 Central Standard Time or Pacific Time or American Time. That means that they're starting their day at 11 p.m., work until 7 a.m. Like, if we had an ounce of their character, we would be okay in this country.
I'm still trying to get Susie to show up on time, or I'm trying to get my administrator. I'm trying to get...
Starbucks line never seems to go any faster every morning. Susie keeps showing up late. Sorry, I'm tapping into humans that want it and are eager and reliable. That's what you get in the Philippines. Incredible character, customer service, any sort of administrative operation and process, data entry, anything where you need reliability. That's a fantastic market to tap into. Sales, HR, hiring, any kind of negotiation, kind of strong-willed, direct at you kind of culture. We're looking at Egypt. We're looking at the Middle East. That's embedded in their culture. They have a culture of negotiation in the marketplace. This is not foreign to them.
Good info.
It's not foreign to them. This is very much something that they're used to. We barter and we trade and we negotiate. It's just part of what we do. We want to tap into that. We want to recognize it. We want to use that to identify right players in right position. South America has a culture of being highly extroverted, charismatic, in your face typically. And there's of course exceptions to every rule. But as a business owner, we're looking at data. We're looking at where's the majority of this value that we can plug in here.
For sure.
And so, we're looking at South America for that. But no matter where you look in these countries, you're seeing wonderful, amazing people that are ready, excited to work in your business like you haven't seen in a long time in this country. Great Depression, people are hardworking, willing to do what it takes for whatever cost. We've lost that. We've lost the hard work mentality. We've gotten too comfortable. Our workforce is too full to be hungry. And there you have it. It's just we've fed on abundance for so long that we forgot what it's like to actually be without, and we've lost the skill sets and we've atrophied in those muscles that help us earn it.
And can I tell you how good it is to bring in people on the team that your domestic American workforce gets to interact with, and what it actually does for the culture of your organization to be exposed to people that are starving for success. And again, you just said something that was so big. They're too full to be hungry. It's a thing. I mean, it's a legit thing. It's a real conversation. Maybe not for everybody. Maybe you got some tight reins on your organization, but for the most part, this is a common trend. They're too full to be hungry. In a previous episode, we talked about, during COVID, people were making more to sit at home than they were to go back to work. That mentality is sort of carried over. It's 2024, but this feels like it was yesterday. Listen,
and if I could just interrupt, too full to be hungry, I feel comfortable saying that, where the American workforce needs to wake up, get the donut out of your face, and fast a little bit. Get back in touch with that feeling of but what if everything did shut off? What if I did lose everything today? What would I do? That hunter-gatherer mode again, tapping back into that wild beast is chasing you. How fast can you run? I have zero problem holding our workforce accountable to that. I feel good about it. I feel empowered to it. I want to call it out and I want to poke that wound as much as we can, because that's nice to our workforce. That's nice to the American. That's what business owner, you've been too weak, you've been too apathetic, you've been too pathetic to bring this up to your team, and because you're in protection mode. You're trying not to rock the boat. You don't want to call it what it is. You don't want to challenge your people. You're not in this to see their personal development. You're in this to protect your nest egg, and you're wrong for it. So I've been there. I've been hungry. I've been homeless. I've been in poverty. I've been in debt. I've seen all these things. And so I for sure have not experienced what our global workforce has experienced. So it's all relative. But I know what it's like to not have, and then to taste what it's like to have, and then to be able to multiply on top of that. So look, that's why we hire convicts. That's why we want reformed people. We want ex-drug addicts. We want people who have been homeless. We want people who have touched the hot oven and know what it's like to be burned and have made a decision to never go back there, because those people are not willing to risk it again. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win. That's what you find at scale globally. So it's not just the diamond in the rough here in the U.S. We have it. We're surrounded in this room right now
That's good.
We're surrounded in
Yeah.
this room right now with incredible Americans, and you know, we've gotten really good at finding those gems here locally.
Yeah.
But at scale, you're finding this every day. You're like
Yeah.
plucking off of that amazing team member tree, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I love that. So it's like a two-way street where the foreign culture of hunger has a positive effect on your domestic American team. But also, when you have the gems on your domestic American team, the positive effect that they have on your global workforce, where you have people that are getting to work directly with domestic Americans, and it's sort of a mind shift for them too. They've been used to maybe Filipino organizations and teams. The thinking's just differently. It's amazing to see the balance of culture on the team inevitably take everybody to another level of both perspective, but inevitably performance.
So good.
And so-
I love how we're jiving here. I want to accent that a little bit,
Yeah.
and because physical hunger is not acceptable. We having people physically hungry is not okay. It's a good launch pad to get motivated and to create change. But what we found, even within our global workforce, is that once a little bit has been attained financially, you actually see that apathy start to creep in globally, which is interesting. So I will say that it's really important that the company takes a mindset shift to say, hey, look, no matter what financial success you achieve here, we're looking to stay hungry not for physical nourishment.
Yeah.
We're looking to stay hungry on purpose and potential. So that's what connects cultures from around the world is potential. We're all humans. The likelihood of us being here is all the same, which is impossible. We're coming here to this organization that stands for something, believes in something, loves its people, rallies around an industry and a thing that we serve this industry with to serve our customers with excellence and all of those good things. But broad strokes, beyond that, we're looking at social mission. We're here for our team to experience what is your full potential and how can we push that to the very extremes. Getting hungry for what's next, that next version of yourself. I mean, that is where we really hit the epitome of what we're here to do as business owners. We're here to drive wealth, and wealth is only one-dimensionally looked at as financial. Wealth really is about being free in your mind and fulfilling your purpose and actually being significant. It's significance that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And that significance is what everybody around the world is looking for.
Yeah.
So just common denominators that when you bring them into all these cultures from around the world, bringing people in, we can unify over financial success, but very quickly we want to move them into, well, what's your full potential? Now that you got some food and that gnawing feeling is gone, we can't lose that hunger.
Yeah.
What are you capable of?
Stay hungry.
You didn't have the possibility of being fed right now. That's a miracle for you, maybe.
Yeah.
With one miracle being satisfied, what's the next miracle you're looking for? What's the next big leap of accomplishment that you can achieve? That's the goal that we've got to get business owners to
So
really
good.
start to perpetuate in their organization.
So good. I'll never forget getting a phone call from you directly to the team, and it was get everybody on the phone right now. Everybody. Get everybody on the horn right now. And everyone's stopping what they're doing, and I'm talking the remote, the global team. Everyone's phone calling, sales team, admin, you name it. Everybody stopped what they were doing. I want everyone on the phone right now. Everybody finally gets on the phone, and you ask two basic questions. What are we doing, and why are we doing it? And I want to point something out for the listener. We've gotten many of those calls from you on multiple occasions. And the questions that you're asking, and I'm going somewhere with this, was not just what's our product and why are we selling this product? Who are we and what do we do? Yeah, that's important. If you can't articulate that, you've got problems. At the same time, it was who are you in this? And why are you here? What are you? There's a mentality that you've done such a great job as a leader of instilling on the inside of us. But what I found most impactful was you weren't just saying that to the American workforce, but you were asking the same impactful question to somebody in Dallas, somebody in LA, 2 people in Egypt, 2 people in the Philippines, somebody from Guatemala, if you will. Everyone's being asked the same impactful question. So no matter what culture you grew up in, you were asked to think a certain way. So that would, in other words, the culture that you're setting in place far superseded what cultures were brought to the table. Wow. That's what's so important. When you're talking about onboarding people, you're managing people, if you don't have that on the inside of you as a leader to be able to say, no matter where you're from, we're not just a product or just, we like to say, oh, we're a melting pot. We're a melting pot. Yeah, great. That could be a negative. You could be melting, like that could actually be a negative thing. We admire the melting pot, but what I admire about you and your leadership, I've known you forever. I've known you since we were teenagers. Is your willingness to say, hey, no matter where you're from or how you grew up, what are we doing? Why are we doing that? There's a culture of where are we going, passion and purpose, and that's something you could never lose when integrating a global workforce into the team. You've done such a great job of that. Can you speak to that real quickly before we end this podcast?
Thank you.
Of how do I keep track of keeping my team hungry? How do I keep I know this sounds maybe rude, but when I'm mushing and I need all them dogs to be striving, we're moving in the right direction, and I'm mush. How do I keep everybody hungry? Maybe they're from a country that's known for lower ways of thinking, and now they're getting a little money in their pocket. Whatever that is, the passion and the purpose. How do I keep that a focus when I'm managing a remote sales team? Because you do such a great job of it.
I appreciate that. And what's interesting is you say maybe you're coming from a country with a lower way of thinking. I think America has become that country. We perpetuate lower ways of thinking, that scarcity, which is crazy because we have all the abundance in the world.
Wow.
And the way you lose the abundance is by operating in scarcity. So, this kind of American superiority too, I would say comes with a lot of humility as a business owner to recognize that, like, we are not the top country in the world. A country is only as good as its mentality and what that mentality produces and its value. And right now it's rapidly depleting. And that's another reason why you should tap into the global workforce, is tap into other areas that are moving and shaking.
Yeah.
Looking at Africa, there's countries that are just massively successful at this point because they've tapped into a mentality. So that's on a macro level of tapping into a mentality on a national scale, but really, how do we inspire our team to tap into our potential and our individual purpose? I always look at it beyond our company. It's, I don't care if you stay here another day, another week, 16 years, or the rest of your life. What are you doing, and are you fully engaged? And if that inspires you to quit today because you can't fully engage with me here, and it inspires you to go somewhere else and fully engage because it's better aligned, I would consider that a success for myself, because I'm in the people business of developing people, loving people, and why. And so scaling that back, guys, business owners, individuals, if you're a leader, if you're breathing right now, you're a leader, like, wake up to that. You got to tap into, where have you come from? What is your story? What is your non-negotiable? I can't go back here ever again. Wherever back here means to you. And are you inspired with where you're going, what you've overcome, where you're at now? And then that non-negotiable, how do you communicate that opportunity for others to have the same result? No matter how seemingly small your past was and where you are now, like, how do we keep that mentality going? Create a better story for somebody else. There's so many other stories of suffering that our team has that they've lived through that I haven't. Mm-hmm. But I'm inspired over them actually having more success and creating a disproportionate, larger gap of where they come from and where they've been under my support and with my development. So it starts with you as a business owner, and then you've got to perpetuate that, because you know what? Life is too small. The ability to run and own and lead a business, considering how impossible the likelihood of your existence is, and then to actually own and run a business and be responsible for other human spirits, other people, is just so crazy and unbelievable that it beckons a responsibility that you have to support people and to guide them and to lead them and develop them, and that's your actual success. It's not the revenue. The revenue follows that, by the way. But if you have revenue without that, you're gonna be 80 years old and look back and consider yourself a failure. If you have a soul, if you have a heart, if you're my kind of people. If you're not my kind of people, you already switched off. If you're listening right now, you felt that, you know that. That is the essence of what we're doing here. Global Workforce is just another avenue. It's another leverage point. But man, that passion inside of you, and to share that with the people that you care about, you love, that care about you, that are in the trenches with you every day, you can't afford not to go about it that way.
Gosh, so good. So good, man. We gotta call it on this episode. We just stop there. Let's just drop the mic.
Yeah,
don't drop it. Take care. Don't drop the mic.
This is expensive.
It is expensive, but man, great episode. So much information, quality content. I appreciate it, guys. Again, remember, hit the bell, subscribe, pass this along to somebody that'll be greatly encouraged by this information. Thanks again.
Love it, Quest. Appreciate your inspiration and your partnership, man. Thanks for jumping on.
You bet. Till next time.